Hello, everyone. Welcome to our latest Trailblazer episode.
Yes.
You've got one. You've got
and the last recorded Trailblazer episode.
It is, because next week we'll be back live. I'll tell you a bit more about that at the end. Yes, and this one, well, I hope you've taken your Valium, is all I'm going to say, because Catherine
done it again.
Catherine has chosen another scientist, which is not anyway. Let's see how this goes. So Catherine is going to.
It is important.
It's very important to a trailblazer in the science world. Someone you will have heard of, but perhaps don't know a lot about, Stephen Hawking. Famous physicist, atheist, and just incredibly, insanely intelligent man. And so I'm glad it's actually up to Catherine to try and translate his work for us.
Well, I'll be honest, I wouldn't touch this topic with someone else's. So I'm glad that you're going to give it a go.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, before I have some sort of aneurysm and everyone starts panicking, Kat, could you please do the disclaimer?
Welcome to History After Dark. Buckle up for a variety of reasons. Chief amongst them, we called it that because we wanted a place we could swear. Simple as that. Innuendos, filth, smut, naughty jokes, all of that. So this is this place. If you are in an open plan office with a judgmental boss, put a headphone in. If you are in any sort of space, shed, car, kitchen, with a small child, this child's a problem. We call this child Timmy. There's the merch. Boom. Timmy is the sort of problem that hears one depraved thing just once. It whispers on the wind towards him. And he locks it away in his mind palace, takes it to school with him, repeats it in front of his reception-age teacher, Miss Honey, who does not follow History After Dark because obviously doesn't. She Googles it, which you shouldn't do. If you don't know what it is, don't Google it. It's not for you. Not everything's for everyone. That's fine. And now you've been called up to school. Why does Timmy know this thing? You now have to pay for all this therapy to get her upright and verbal again. No one needs it. Put a headphone in. It should be abundantly clear what's about to happen here. Also, you've been before. Almost certainly. So don't be shocked. At no point in these comments or on our other comments in our personal social medias that are linked in the description box, check them out. We don't swear over there. In any of those, I don't want to see any comments saying, I very much enjoy History After Dark, but I do wish you ladies wouldn't swear. It is most indecorous of you. Shut up. I'm going to swear. That's what we're here for. That and the history, filth and history, filthy history. And I know what you want. You want us to pin that comment so people can come into our comments, see it, and humiliate you publicly because that's your kink. You've got a humiliation kink. And while I'm not going to kink shame you, they might. I am going to say that kink without consent is never okay. We all know about the services of our lovely friend Tiffany. She's franchised. She's in every location that you could possibly wish for.
She's omnipresent.
She is omnipotent, omnipresent, and she's also an omnivore. She'll eat everybody. Nosh.
She caters for everyone, even vegans.
She caters for everyone. She's essentially, her dominatrix basements are a little bit like Pret-a-Manger in London. You can't go 3 streets without finding one. Other restaurants are available, but not other dominatrix companies. She's the only game in the town. And she and her lovely whiplash of dominatrixes will do unspeakable things to you for your pleasure and desire. But to get things done to you with a car battery, a spring onion, and an arsenome, you need to pay your money, take your choice, right? kink without consent is not okay.
Mm.
I really, good God, hope that you're all adults after that. So you can do what you want, but we are never going to approve this being a drinking game. We aren't going to approve it. We also will never be offering you medical nor legal advice. Please do not sue. I feel like I need to get like a security blanket because we're about to talk about science. I'm doing this already.
You're already pulling at your shit.
Catherine, explain, do it. There you are.
Right, so if you watched 3 or 4 weeks ago, I talked about Alan Turing, and you might remember that it got a little bit
We've only just recovered.
tense and confusing at points.
Who's
Right,
recovered?
sorry.
Ain't me, not me. I have waking nightmares about that science. I'm like,
I think I did reasonably. I think I kind of managed to put some of it in sort of vague terms. There are bits of this.
I don't think it's your fault. I think I lack the capacity to understand what's happened, and I fear
it's quite complicated. Like when we did all the scientists and stuff in the early days of History Heroes, and I was trying to translate it, but this is I had to declare defeat with some of this. I tried really hard. You know, it's bad where you read the simplified version, and the simplified version still leads you to some sort of mental breakdown. So
cool. I'm going to say, Catherine, this may be the last time we're after a scientist. This may be the last time.
Trust me, this is the last time I'm going to do.
We're going to veto any future suggestions.
This kind of now comes in line for me with doing genealogy. It's just not worth the ball ache. It's very interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's very interesting.
But it's not. Look, genealogy and understanding science. You know those people who have like the crazy person corkboard for like solving crimes.
Yes, it's a bit like
when anyone talks to me about science, that is what my brain is doing. It's a crazy person corkboard, and there's strings that go to nowhere. Some have gone out the door, and I'm cold and alone, and I would like a bag of crisps.
Some are just swinging. They're just hanging there.
Yeah,
there's nothing going on.
Look,
in my case,
they somehow have developed perpetual motion. I don't know how. That's another science thing that I can't understand.
In my
I'm afraid,
case,
Catherine.
The squirrels were on some sort of meth come down. I don't even know, but it anyway. I love him. I loved him before, and I really love him now. So let's do this.
Yes,
okay,
go on.
Probably. Okay, Stephen William Hawking, cat's literally buckling up, was born on the January the 8th, 1942, in Oxford, England. He was an English theoretical physicist, a cosmologist, an author, and a director of research at the Centre for Theoretical Cosmology within the University of Cambridge. So his father was Frank Hawking, born in 1905, and he trained in medicine at the University of Oxford, which is where Stephen went when he did his undergraduate degree. He was a respected medical researcher with a speciality in tropical diseases, which is always one of those things like, why would you do that? I don't know. Like, why would you be a gynecologist?
Or a podiatrist?
Yes.
I got it in the end.
The feet one. That's the feet one. I couldn't do the feet one.
Chiropodist.
That's got to be a kink. That's got to be a kink, hasn't it?
Why would you work in the clap clinic? It's all of those types of things anyway. So he wanted Stephen to kind of follow in his footsteps, but he didn't. So his mother was Isabel Hawking, obviously, eventually Nee Walker. And she went to Oxford University in the 1930s at a time when few women were able to access higher education.
She was
economics, politics. Whenever we can get it in, it's always good when you can get it in, isn't it?
Missus, that's what she said. There we are.
She studied economics, politics, and philosophy. So
the famous PPE Prime Minister.
That kind of brain. Yeah. So they had 4 children, Frank and Isabel. Stephen was the eldest, and his father wanted him to follow him into medicine. But even from a very early age, he had a passion for science and space. And his mother would sit with him on summer evenings, including, she would just sit there and look at the stars with him. That's what they used to do. They had quite a good, quite a nice relationship. And she said Stephen always had a strong sense of wonder, and I could see that the stars could draw him in. And she died in 2013. She was 98. Which is pretty impressive. Yeah. So he completed his undergraduate degree at Oxford University. At Oxford, at University College in Oxford, between 1959, when he was 17, so a little bit earlier than normal, to 1962. And he received a first class BA in physics. He admitted he was a very lazy student, and he said that he reckons he did 1,000 hours study over the course of his undergrad, which works out the equivalent of an hour and a half a day.
So fuck off. He's one of those then, is he?
Yeah.
He just trots out first.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't
Although
even
there is an amusing story behind the first, but yeah, one of them goes, oh, that's easy. I'm off down the pub.
It's like, as if they already have. It's as if they already have the information, because they haven't even had enough time to read it or listen to it or write it. It's just there.
It's like he was unnecessarily intelligent. Like there was no need for it at all.
There's evidence of aliens.
So yeah, so he was not a professor's favourite largely because of this, and they weren't sure when it came down to it if he deserved a first. So he had a viva, and he said to them in the viva, if you give me a first, I will go to Cambridge to do my postgraduate study. If you give me a 2-1, I will stay here. They gave him a first. Right. Oh, and this was a nice little bit of trivia. He was part of the Oxford University rowing team, but he was the coxswain because obviously probably he was very slight of build, but he was witty, he was popular, he was quite boisterous. He used to play a lot of pranks. He had a great social life. You know, he enjoyed his time at university. Other people enjoyed his company. He lived it up. He did all the things that you kind of associate with students, and obviously not doing as much work as you could possibly have done, also something that we quite often associate with university students. So when he went to Cambridge to do his postgrad there, he went to Trinity Hall and he focused on cosmology and general relativity. We'll come back to those. And he completed his PhD in 1966. He was elected a research fellow to Gonville and Caius College, and he later held the prestigious Lucasian Professor of Mathematics position at Cambridge University, a chair once held by Isaac Newton, who I think we talked about.
We also studied. We also looked at him, and that also made me feel itchy all over.
Yeah, it was a tricky one.
Interestingly, Gonville and Caius College.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know it's pronounced Caius. I know it's spelt Caius, but it is apparently Gonville and Caius.
Well, I had a sneaking suspicion I was probably ballsing that up, but it was what I had.
It's like it's spelt Magdalene, but it's Magdalene College. Even though it's spelled Magdalene.
Yeah. It's like this purposeful tripping up. If you're not
I
one
was
of the club,
literally just about to say that. It's trying to make us thick people look stupid.
Well, if you didn't go, you're an outsider, so you're not supposed to know.
But then to be fair, we do it with things like Bicester. I mean, that's not how that's spelled, is it?
Oh,
we do it. Place names,
isn't it?
Beaver.
Yeah, Bicester.
Beaver. Yeah.
Yeah, Beaver. Spelled Belvoir, but Beaver.
Okay.
Beaver, yeah. So, yeah, I suppose so.
It's in case there are spies. We want to
know. Right. So I'm just going to touch on this quite briefly. Because I don't want to define him by his condition, because I think so many people go, oh, Stephen Hawking, he was the guy in the wheelchair with the voice box. And so obviously that is him. He had this, but it didn't change what he was able to achieve. He still traveled internationally, he still gave speeches, he still researched, he still wrote. So yes, it's how a lot of people see him and they identify him, but I'm giving very brief sort of description of it, but it's not, to me, it's not essentially him and what he researched and how he researched it. It was, but it wasn't, if you know what I mean. But he first started to feel unwell in his 3rd year at Oxford. He became clumsy. He found walking more difficult. He got muscle twitches. He got a little bit of slurred speech. And he was diagnosed in 1963 at the age of 21 with ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Once again, apologies if I've said that wrong. And it's a form of motor neuron condition. Now, 5 to 10% of cases are thought to be inherited, but we don't necessarily know exactly which gene the mutation can be on. And if his was, we don't know that. But a lot of people also say it can be a complex interaction of genes and environmental factors. So he was very young to have his ALS presenting himself in such a prolific way, because he was obviously in his early 20s, late teens, early 20s, when he started getting symptoms. And the most common age for diagnosis is between 60 and 75.
Oh,
So
gosh.
he was, there was talk that maybe with him, his body had a big contributing factor. I think maybe his body had an inability to absorb vitamins properly. Apparently that can be a thing. So, but when he was diagnosed, they gave him 2 years to live. And that's got to be a prognosis that is devastating at that age for you, your family, your friends, etc., etc. So most individuals with ALS pass away within 5 years. The average lifespan, apparently, I'm not expecting this, is 14 months. But he magnificently defied this and lived with ALS for about 55 years. So not one to be outdone by absolutely anything.
But do they know how that happened?
No,
not
really.
He presented very early and it was quite aggressive. How is this possible?
ALS can. So one thing is if the vitamin theory is right, they put him on a complex of vitamins, apparently. I think lifestyle is a factor. I think, exactly what's causing it, but the rates that it progresses is different in every individual. So I think comparatively, his was just very, very slow developing. I mean, if you think he goes on for several more years before he's in a wheelchair, before he loses the ability to speak after a procedure. So most people have passed away years before he even got to those points. So I think he had good health care, a very positive mindset, and he was just, unfortunate, it's not quite the right word, but it was very slow progressing comparatively. And I'm saying this is just based on things that I've read. I obviously don't have the medical knowledge of this condition and specifically exactly everything that happened to him, partly because I didn't want to go into the finiteness of that. But yeah, I mean, absolutely outstanding that he managed to do that. It's almost like, and I am refusing to be average at anything.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to piss this out of the water as well. So it's a nervous system disease that affects the cells in the brain and spinal cord. Hence the twitching, the muscle loss, the inability to coordinate yourself and things like that. So there are a number of other symptoms as well that are sort of less noticeable, but those aren't necessarily common to every individual that has ALS. But it's safe to Google if you want to find out a bit more about ALS generally, or a bit more about Stephen Hawking's ALS. So whilst at Oxford, he met his first wife, Jane Hawking Nee Wild. She is now Jane Jones because she married a musician called Jonathan Heller Jones in 1977. So after her and Stephen Hawking split. But he met Jane at a party in 1962, hosted by mutual friends. And he had not long graduated from Oxford, was starting at Cambridge. She was 18 and still at school, tut, 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 but not, but yes. And she was with him. They were a couple when he got his diagnosis. And he, I think, was like, well, if you don't want, she was like, no, absolutely not. So they got engaged in 1964. They got married the year after, and they had 3 children, Robert, Lucy, and Tim, who all survived their father. They divorced in 1995. So Stephen remarried Elaine Mason, who in 1995 was one of his nurses, and they didn't have any children together. So Hawking, like you do in his spare time, I'm just winding up to it now. Considered most. There's going to be lots of reading off my notes here, so I apologise for the lack of.
I just when she takes a sip of a drink, is I right?
It's gin. It's not gin. So he considered initially, at least, but he was all about looking into the most basic questions about it, as if there is such a thing as basic questions about.
These aren't going to be basic, are they?
Yeah. So, but the big ones like, why are we here? Where do we come from? So seeking answers to these led him to a landmark in the advancement of science. So he was the first to set out a theory of cosmology explained by a union of 2 things. Firstly, the general theory of relativity, think Einstein, and secondly, quantum mechanics. The general theory of relativity is a geometric theory of gravitation that describes gravity not as a force, but as the curvature of space-time caused by the presence of mass and energy. Space and time are not separate. They are interwoven. This is they are interwoven. This is going to help you understand. Me doing it's going to help you understand into a single 4-dimensional fabric called space-time. So space and time are not separate. They are woven together, and we call it space-time. Matter and energy tell space-time how it should curve. And in turn, space-time tells matter how to move. So they're kind of influencing each other in that respect.
Do you know what I'm reminded of? This is the level I'm at. When you were saying that, I just thought of the theme tune for the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
That's all I've got, babe. That's the level we're at.
Okay, so this warping of space-time affects the path of objects. So what objects will do. So you can see how that's related to gravity, because that affects like what objects will do. And this leads to the effect we know as gravity. So that's what gravity is. Back to Isaac Newton. So, oh no, quantum mechanics.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It's the fundamental theory in physics. So it's your basics of physics that explains the behavior of matter and energy at the atomic and subatomic scales. And really, really tiny bits, right? Down at the basic, right? Yeah. Where phenomena.
Okay. What?
Where phenomena differ significantly from classical physics. So quantum.
So what, Catherine? Do you know what I'm loving? Okay. Catherine, what I'm loving right now is you're speaking slowly and clearly, as if you're speaking to somebody where English is not their first language. But I'm going to tell you, it's having the same effect, because whatever this English is, it's not my first language either. So you can speak as slowly and clearly as you like. You may as well be speaking.
I'm trying to help myself understand it as well, to be honest.
I thought I was with you until you said not classic physics, and I was like, okay, I don't know. Anyway, carry on.
There's bits of it later on that I get a bit more, but this first little bit I'm struggling with. So the Department of Energy, which is an actual government department, the Department of Energy, describes quantum mechanics in these simple words. I mean, the words are simple, but it's the way they're put together, I would argue, isn't so simple. It is a field of physics that explains how extremely small objects have the characteristics of both particles, tiny pieces of matter, we know what particles are, and waves. A disturbance or variation that transfers energy. So something
I'm
goes a bit
disturbed.
wrong, bit different, and the energy moves in a different way. Physicists call this the wave-particle duality. There'll be a test on this at the end. Right, he was also a particular supporter of the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, many worlds. So this proposes that every quantum measurement causes the universe to branch into multiple universes.
What?
Each branch represents a different possible outcome. So it's just like, you know, everything that happens could go different ways, and it creates another universe and another universe and another universe. So we say, like, you know, in another universe, this would be happening. In another universe, this isn't history after dark. It's us having a mental breakdown about a different reason. In another universe, we all understand what's happening. So, you know, you've heard of that concept probably of infinite universes where everything that could happen splits into a different possibility. So all possibilities are physically realized in separate, different, non-interacting worlds. So they can't cross. You can't cross all these different universes into one another. It is a controversial but increasingly discussed attempt to provide a complete and consistent description of quantum reality.
Doesn't sound like reality. It sounds like,
well, we don't know because we're not in one of these other multiple universes.
well, I want to know why I ended up in the one with my ex then. Like, if there was another opportunity, another possibility. How mean.
But half the Philippas did.
How's the space? How's there physical space for all these different things?
Well, because space is infinite. Well, or is it?
Oh,
Or is it?
the infinity
Yeah.
symbol keeps going around then, isn't it?
We'll
It has boundaries.
We'll come back to that. Yeah.
Oh,
so some of his most important and famous work is the advancement and knowledge of black holes. You've heard of black holes. A concept derived by Einstein's general theory of relativity. So what is a black hole? So I've simplified this. It's a big swirly thing in space.
Awesome.
That helps. Yeah. Less simply, okay, so sitemed.com defines it as a region in the cosmos with gravitational forces that are so strong, not even radiation or light can escape. Tighter than a duck's arse, ladies. So Hawking considered what would happen to matter sucked into this black hole that things can't get out of. I think if you can't get out, how can it get in? But I don't know anyway. So his work was a turning point in modern physics because no other researcher had previously applied quantum theory to study black holes. I can't think why. Oh no. Okay, so this is a new low. And the reason for that, I couldn't even read the reason for why that had happened. That's how hard it was. So that's got to be a new low. So by linking gravity with quantum mechanics, he provided scientists with a new perspective on the universe that had never been considered before. So also from sitemed.com, his proposal that matter could be erased from the universe because it's gone sucked into the black hole contradicted conventional thinking and the most basic tenets of quantum theory, which would say the universe, you can't remove items can't be erased from the universe. He also made important progress in linking general relativity, see Isaac Newton, and quantum mechanics, see that thing earlier that we don't get, to the laws of thermodynamics.
Brilliant.
His calculations showed that black holes would eventually spew out radiation, explode, and then disappear.
Oh.
A black hole is no longer black when it explodes. Just a Anyway,
Okay.
from something that I read, it says the theory has got a lot of behind it, and it makes sense of that. But because it was saying that black hole would eventually blue stuff out. Obviously, he's postulating this from what he's got. So I don't believe. So this is, and that radiation is known as Hawking radiation for fairly obvious reasons. And I believe that Hawking radiation has not been directly observed from a real actual black hole.
Right. So they're keeping an eye on black holes.
Yeah.
None of them have yet exploded.
If there's one there,
out.
and then it's not there, and you've got a very bad case of sunburn, you might be the first person to observe Hawking radiation.
Got to keep,
So-
got to keep an eye on those. Got to keep an eye on those black holes. Make sure they're still sucking people off, and etc. etc.
The dustbins of the universe.
Possibly.
Where do they go? Where do they go? Where do they go? What's happening?
Kind of like,
Are they Aladdin's lamp?
Spew out the radiation, it will just kind of explode and cease to be.
I need a nap already.
But
I already need a
if there's
nap.
stuff in there that can't be destroyed, and it's been sucked in there, and then it explodes, that doesn't destroy it. So where does it go?
Right, it's
It's looking at her
reading in the
notes.
cosmos with gravitational forces that are so
Right.
strong, not even radiation or light can escape.
But then it explodes, so everything must escape. No? It's okay. I'm not actually asking you to explain.
For the love of Christ, Philippa.
If you,
Well,
next
hang on,
week,
no, hang on.
Catherine's got a job offer from Cambridge to go in and
These calculations show that black holes would eventually spew out radiation. So presumably it's the pressure of that would make them explode and disappear, because it's a black hole is no longer black when it explodes, so then it's just a hole.
But hole to where?
Maybe. Look, it's space. Space is hard. I don't know. I remember seeing once a picture of something in space, and it was like a swirly tunnel of gas that was 1 trillion miles long.
See, someone made that up. They did that on their computer. It's not real. There's no camera.
Like a picture from like before they did all this shit on computers. I don't know, but it makes my brain hurt.
But they happen to have amazing cameras. So computers didn't exist to create an image,
no,
but they had amazing cameras.
Like it was a camera up in space. They didn't have like AI and all that bollocks like we do now.
A camera up in space. Like the 1960s moon landings were the grainiest, like crappiest.
I don't know, but either way, it's unnecessary. The universe is unnecessary.
But anyway, so we did some clever shit with some existing theories. He added to them.
Right. Next up, we have the Penrose-Hawking singularity theorems, which he developed with Roger Penrose. They revealed that the universe has a beginning and an end.
Oh, that actually helps my brain a bit.
Oh, yeah, right.
No, actually, it doesn't, because what became before the beginning? Anyway.
We'll come to that as well.
Oh!
Hawking theorized that time and space began, that will develop, so it's not quite as straightforward as it sounds, began at the Big Bang. Theorized that space and time began at the Big Bang and will eventually end in the evaporation of black holes. Black holes equals universe death, I think. The death of black holes equals, anyway. So then we have the concept of the Hartle-Hawking state, which is a proposed quantum state for the universe. It is also called the no boundary proposal, which supported the theory of the Big Bang, supports the Big Bang. So he saw the Big Bang as an inevitable consequence of the laws of physics. So because of the laws of physics, the Big Bang had to happen. It is not the Big Bang, the creation of a divine being. A divine being did not cause the Big Bang. It did not create the Big Bang. Okay. So we don't have a Big Bang because of God or anybody else. So to reiterate, and in a little bit more detail, which might actually help, here is Hawking's contribution to the theory of the Big Bang. 1, spontaneous creation. The universe could and would and will be created spontaneously. It will create itself from nothing due to the fundamental laws of physics, such as gravity. 2. Hartle and Hawking put forward the no boundary proposal, which states that the universe had no boundary or edge at the beginning. It was essentially a self-contained entity where time behaved like space at the earliest moments. 3. Imaginary time. Real, ordinary time curled into imaginary time as the universe contracted. This then became the basis for the birth of physical laws and the universe itself. I hope that's clear. So what did this mean to Hawking? Well, I'm glad you asked. 1, there is no need for God. The no boundary theory meant that there was no God was needed to set the universe in motion. 2, it is a natural phenomenon, the Big Bang Theory. So if you're part of the no dinosaurs groupie group, then I'm afraid this doesn't work for you. The Big Bang is not a singular moment of creation. It's not a singular. It is a process that emerged spontaneously from the laws of physics. So the reason it is not a single moment is because all the things that created all these laws of physics that create all these things came together at the right point to create it. So that's when you said what was before the Big Bang. That was what was before the Big Bang, if I'm interpreting this correctly. Those laws of physics things were doing their thing, and something happened where they all converged at a certain point, and we get the Big Bang. The beginning 3, the beginnings of laws. The Big Bang was the beginning of the laws governing the universe. So the Big Bang was actually a new set of laws of physics govern the universe. So we tend to think of it as this like start of time, but it's not. It was the beginning of another set of laws to govern the universe. So before we had the question of what came before the Big Bang, but that question is not needed now, because we can see that the Big Bang came as a result from within the physical framework of the universe. Right. In his book, A Brief History of Time from the Big Bang to Black Holes, it's a book on the it's a book. And you might have heard of this book, A Brief History of Time, a book on cosmology, first published in 1988. And Hawking writes, apparently, in non-technical terms, about the structure, origin, development, and eventual fate of the universe. Doesn't sound good, does it? The idea being that it uses succinct and clear language to introduce everyone to the universe and his work. It was on the Sunday Times bestseller list for 237 weeks, which incidentally is probably how long it takes to read it. In 2008, he released A Briefer History of Time.
What was the need? The first one was so brief. What's the need for the second one?
This was his response to readers asking for a more accessible formulation of his key concepts: the nature of space and time, the role of God in creation, and the history and future of the universe. But it also clarifies and expands on the original book and adds the newer developments in the field, such as string theory. Please don't even ask about that. And a unified theory of all the forces of physics. Now, when we talked about Turing the other week, we talked about trying to find things that were universal, that explained absolutely everything in mathematics. And one of the things he said was, there aren't things that we can do that with physics either. Some people will look for things that explain that in physics, one theory to explain all of X, Y, and Z. And he was saying kind of like the same thing. No, that doesn't exist. So the most famous film about Hawking, which we were talking about before we started, was The Theory of Everything, released in 2014, starring Eddie Redmayne, who was also very good in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, if you've watched that, and Felicity Jones as Jane Hawking. And it was adapted from her 2007 memoir. Now, that was one of the first films that me and David went to see. And after we went to see it, we went to Waterstones, where he bought this book.
Has he read it?
I think it's fairly obvious to say that neither of us have read it. But it wasn't me that bought it. But I was researching it, so I thought maybe I should read it. And I thought, no. Let's just leave it on the shelf so other people go, wow, they must be really clever. So this is where he was a trailblazer. His ideas have therefore transformed the human understanding of the cosmos. When they say human understanding, I think some humans universally. But here is some very cool trivia and stuff which I thought you might enjoy. Despite his extraordinary intellect, he was unaware of his IQ score, had no interest in finding out, expressing that people who boast about their IQ scores were losers. He was born exactly 300 years after the death of Galileo and then passed away on the anniversary of Albert Einstein's birth. He claimed, I love this, he claimed to have disproved time travel by throwing a party for time travelers and advertising it the day after, and no one attended. I love that.
Maybe he was in the wrong universe, though.
In other universes.
Yeah, it happened in a different universe.
He played himself in Star Trek: The Next Generation, 1987, The Simpsons in 1989, Futurama in 1999, and The Big Bang Theory in 2007. He was awarded the CBE Commander of the Order of the British Empire in the 1982 Queen's Honours List and the CH Member of the Order of the Companions of Honour in the 1989 Queen's Honours List for his services to science. He's very trailblazy, wasn't he? He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Barack Obama on the 30th of July 2009, the highest civilian honour in the United States, at a White House ceremony for his services to science. In addition to his first-class honours degree from Oxford in 1962 and a PhD from Cambridge in 1966 that we talked about earlier. In 1978, he received an honorary one of them, BA degree from Oxford University and a PhD from Cambridge in 1981, Notre Dame in 1982, and New York University in 1982. Oh, I told you I didn't know to write down when he died, and I did. He passed away on March the 14th, 2018. March the 14th is also known as Pi Day because the date can be written as 3.14. During an interview, a camera operator pulled out a cable from a socket to adjust the lighting. An alarm sounded immediately afterwards, and Hawkins slumped forward. Believing they had accidentally turned off his life support and killed him, visitors rushed over to him only to find him alive and giggling about his own joke. The alarm actually went off from a computer losing its power supply. So he had a fantastic
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
He sounds like a kind of guy.
Yeah, and some great quotes. I think that computer viruses should count as life. I think it says something about human nature that the only form of life we have created so far is purely destructive. We've created life in our own image. Some of our greatest catastrophes have been caused by people talking and by some people not talking. Women, they are a complete mystery. However difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. The development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, it is the illusion of knowledge. I think that's
we like that one because we like that one.
The downside of my celebrity is that I cannot go anywhere in the world without being recognised. It is not enough for me to wear dark glasses and a wig. The wheelchair gives me away. It surprises me how disinterested we are today about things like physics, space, the universe, and philosophy of our existence, our purpose, our final destination. It's a crazy world out there. Be curious. I don't think in my case it's lack of interest. It's just
it's lack of competency.
What's happening? But
we've moved on to a point where the frontier of understanding is past most of our
the cost of entry, the intellectual cost of entry to have these conversations and be anywhere near approaching comprehension is just too high for even people who are objectively smart.
Yes. Yeah. So I've got a couple of quotes from you that might actually help. So one is from The Brief History of Time, originally published in 1988. This is from the 1991 edition. Even if there is only one, so this goes back to what I said just now about one theory, like we talked about with Turing. Even if there is only one possible unified theory, it is just a set of rules and equations. What is it that breathes fire into the equations and makes a universe for them to describe? The usual approach of science, of constructing a mathematical model, cannot answer the questions of why there should be a universe for the model to describe. So why does the universe exist? Why does the universe go to the bother of existing? And then, from A Brief History of Time, the 1989 publication, however, if we discover a complete theory, it should in time be understandable by everyone. I admire his optimism, not just by a few scientists. Then we shall all, philosophers, scientists, and just ordinary people, again, optimistic, be able to take part in the discussion of the question of why it is that we and the universe exist. If we find the answer to that, it would be the ultimate triumph of human reason. For then we should know the mind of God. And then he put later another quote, I believe the simplest explanation is that there is no God. No one created the universe and no one directs our fate. This leads me to a profound realization that there probably is no heaven and no afterlife either. We have this one life to appreciate the grand design of the universe, and for that, I am extremely grateful. Now, just when I thought my brain hadn't quite melted, I accidentally used it because there's so much, I could have written so much. I accidentally come across this one last thing. Thomas Hertog was a PhD student of Hawkins, and he collaborated with him on a new theory of the universe, published as Hawking's final piece of scientific work just days before his death. So after Hawking passed away, Hertog wrote and published a book called On the Origin of Time. I haven't read it, to explain their final theory to a wider audience. The universe is a 4-dimensional membrane in a 5-dimensional space and a small part of a much vaster hidden reality. So we do know that there's a lot we don't know. This final cosmological theory posits that the laws of physics are not set in stone, but co-evolve with the universe, offering a new, more naturalistic explanation for the apparent design of the cosmos. Their theory, which incorporated ideas like holography and external inflation, suggests that the universe is finite, lacks a prior boundary, which obviously we talked about no boundaries earlier, and that its complexity grew over time in a process akin to Darwinian evolution. So the universe is progressing and evolving all the time. So if my mind wasn't already blown enough, in the end, Stephen Hawking was so intelligent that he convincingly challenged Stephen Hawking. So one last quote from him. I believe the simplest explanation is there is no God. No one created the universe. No one directs our fate. So I've just gone back to this because I really love it. This leads me to the profound realization that there is probably no heaven and no afterlife either. We have this one life to appreciate the grand design of the universe. And for that, I am extremely grateful. And I really liked him before. I wanted to examine him as a scientist. And I wish I could understand it more. So maybe what you need to do is talk with people rather than getting it through articles and books and stuff. You know, maybe if you sit down with a group of people who really understand this, they will be able to find ways to compare it to everyday things. And when we talked about Turing, I talked about what happens if you give Catherine chocolate? Well, you know she's going to eat it. What happens if you give it to somebody else? Or they might do different things with it. So it might be that there will be ways of, but I just, you reading about this was just wonderful. And I know the internet's a shit place in a lot of ways, but it does give us the opportunity to find out about people without having to buy these books and not just say, oh, Stephen Hawking was the guy in the wheelchair. So I've really enjoyed, and we've got one more next week, which Philippa will tell you about in a bit, but I've really enjoyed this series on Trailblazers. And for me, I thought, okay, well, I know a bit about Stephen Hawking, but this just opened him up as a person so much to me. I got a little bit emotional when I was learning about him. He's just amazing. And we always have this thing, don't we? If you can say, if you could talk to anybody, dead or alive, because sometimes obviously it's somebody dead you wish you was alive, and sometimes it's someone alive you wish was dead. But if I could talk to anybody, my person now would be Stephen Hawking. I think he's absolutely amazing. He is, slightly ironically, or his ashes are interned around about Poets' Corner, I think, in Westminster Abbey. So it's obviously considered a great honour to be interred at Westminster Abbey. The irony, of course, being that he didn't believe in God. So what exactly he would have made of that is hard to say, but he obviously had quite the sense of humour. So I think part of him perhaps would have been all right with it. So that was Stephen Hawking, and I think he's entirely fabulous, and I love him very much. And despite the fact that I just didn't know what was happening while I was reading that, I'm so glad I did. It was amazing. So there we go. That's Stephen Hawking for you, ladies. Any questions?
I know we don't want to focus on his condition, but just to continue, and I don't mean sort of, clearly he had quite a positive mindset, but that must have been I don't know, he must have had thoughts that you can't get down quickly or say. So that's an incredible mind, just to be able to I don't know, to continue to do anything when you're hampered in that way. It's just amazing.
Yeah. So next time you get a paper cut, no. But yeah, and like I said, he travelled the world to give inaugural addresses and attend conferences and be given awards, and all of these types of things as well. So when I say nothing hampered him, obviously there were situations that would have been difficult, but nothing's he did these things that I don't know, I've got the wording right now. He'd have done these things if he hadn't had ALS, but ALS, he did them anyway.
Yeah, it's almost like, for a man who, this is an irony, it almost was like if it was his destiny, which he probably doesn't believe in.
No such thing as fate.
No.
Up there somewhere in my notes. Yeah, no such thing as fate.
So does the no such thing as fate, does that tie into this idea that there are multiple universes? So there is no such thing as fate, because actually every route has got the alternative also happening, and therefore one of them can't be fate.
Presumably, because of the laws of the universe and physics, each thing is, like I say, each option is determined, and it splits and it splits and it splits to give each thing an option. So yeah, that would make sense. And so therefore,
sounds too crowded to me.
This multiple. But yeah, that just happens to be the branch of universe that you're in. So that's just what's going to happen to you. Which presumably raises the question of free will, which presumably again can be sort of philosophical or religion-based debate, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. There's no need to be that clever, is there, really?
You probably didn't enjoy The Last Kingdom then, with its destiny is all tagline every episode.
So yeah, there we go. I liked him.
Thank you very much. I'm now fully expecting you to read A Briefer History of Time. You're going to be tempted. I think you're tempted.
I am tempted, but I just have this thing that I'll get past about the 3rd page and start crying. So
You'll love it.
I don't know. I think what I should
I
probably
need to have a
do.
little lie down in the dark room.
I'm wondering if the best way to do it, because is to find somebody who, somebody else who would like to read it, and or maybe somebody with a little bit of knowledge about this, and kind of read it together so you can bounce thoughts off of each other. Like you just did then. You said to me, "Oh, so is this why there's no free will? Because there are these infinite universes?" And I hadn't thought about it like that. So, and I'm sure if I, obviously with this, there was so much I didn't put in, but there would have been so much more than that as well. So it could have been, if you sat down and read other people's books, articles, listen to blogs, listen to podcasts and blogs and stuff like that. A lot of these things probably have been brought up, and I just obviously haven't come across them. So, I would imagine a lot of these same sorts of thought processes and questions have been discussed, probably by people in dungarees at Cambridge. But yeah. There you
Fantastic.
go.
Well, thank you very much.
There's a picture of Columbus. Look. There you go. A real actual picture of Columbus. Oh no, but I've just found waves in atomic orbits. No, let's just put that back. Right. Philippa.
Hello.
The relief of everybody concerned. What's happening next week?
Well, next week we are live, joined by a very special guest, Ewan Roger, who is fantastic. He is going to talk to us about his sort of candidate, if you like, as a trailblazer, and that is, if I've got this right, Geoffrey Chaucer.
I don't know much about Chaucer. This is going to be really good.
Yes. From the tiny amount I know, he's very interesting, and the world in which he lived in, the House of John of Gaunt and all that is very interesting. So
John of Gaunt.
we like it.
We like a bit of John of Gaunt. He needs to have a drama made about him.
It does. It's quite insane that interesting that he hasn't. Yeah.
Maybe we could write it. Do you think Max Irons would be available?
How old is Max Irons now? Because in our head he's still like
he's probably you know what, he probably is older than John of Gaunt was when he was doing all of this stuff, but considering how things get cast, he's probably about the right age. Like plenty of people who are playing Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour are a decade older
at least.
Yeah.
I mean, Catherine Howard is rarely played by somebody who is in fact 15 or 16 or 17. Rarely.
For
good reason.
Really picky about somebody we know that does costumed interpretation as Anne Boleyn, but I'm not going to. But
that's not me. Just flagged up. I've never played Anne Boleyn.
It's not.
I just flagging up. I haven't played Anne Boleyn.
No.
I have played her sister-in-law.
Yes. So anyway, I've forgotten.
Wonderful. Well, anyway, yes. So we'll be back next week, 22nd of October, 8:15 p.m. UK time. Look at what time that is in your neck of the woods. We will be scheduling it, so you should be able to come to YouTube and click the notify me button so that you will get a notification just in case you've forgotten when we go live.
Don't know,
because we would love for you to be there.
Yes. It's lovely. Kat, can you tell us all the things?
Yes. Well, thank you all for joining us for this series, and of course we've got lives to come. If you have enjoyed what we do here, then you can tell us and show us your appreciation with money. If you come over to www.buymeacoffee.com/had podcast, you can buy Winnebagos. You can also join our close friends. That's on Instagram. Up the top, the story with the circle. If it's got a green thing around it, that means you're already our close friend. If it doesn't, then become a close friend.
Instagram.
That means also, if you can see something green, it means that Catherine's posted something.
Go look.
And it will be a depraved image of some description. It will be some filthy historical meme or something about a beaver or something about a historical beaver. It's what our group chat is like. So come on down. You can also find out more information about us over on Substack. And that is a place you can come to find out about our merch. We have a variety of merch. There we go. History After Dark Hub.substack.com. That's also where you can come to listen to this podcast. If you are listening as a podcast, you'll be asked to give a 5-star review and say some nice things. If you don't think it's worth 5 stars, then you don't have to say anything. You can keep your little mouth closed. You don't have to type. Shh. Go find somebody else to pick on. Over here, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, select all, comment, interact with the post. That tells the YouTube algorithm that people are engaging with it, and that makes them share it out more, which help us with more people seeing our stuff and hopefully growing this community of deviants and perverts that you are all a part of because you're still here. And we want more. One of us. You will also notice that in the description box, we've got our individual social medias. Follow over there for more history fun. Over there, though, without the filth, we save that for here. And I think that might be everything.
Yeah.
I think so.
In which case, be good. And if you can't be good, be careful. And if you can't be careful, well, then you know what? Don't get caught. We're going to see you later. But for now, it's goodbye from us. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Bye.